Ryan Poles did an interview with 670 The Score on Friday and had a couple of interesting notes that I wanted to react to here on Chicago Bears Now. My name is Harrison Graham. We will do that coming up here on today's show. But if you're watching this on Friday morning, we're going to have a full joint practice recap on Friday afternoon. If you're watching later, well, still subscribe to the channel because we have daily content for you guys here on Bears Now. News, rumors, training camp updates, injury news, game previews, live watch parties. We're doing it all. Hit that subscribe button. All right. One question he was asked early on in the interview was kind of a reference into something Sean Payton apparently said in some book that's coming out, that as much as he loved Caleb Williams, he did have questions about his ability to process at the NFL level. Here's what Ryan had to say to that. He said, the more reps you get at it and the more big picture understanding of what you're trying to accomplish within the scheme and the speed allows you to then start speeding that up. The more reps and opportunities you get, you should see that improve. We believe that will continue to improve over time. And look, I think the reality here, just currently sitting here in mid-August, is Caleb Williams is still learning a complicated offense. Vets in this league on this team have talked about it. This is a complicated offense. Most complicated offense I've been in. He's not to the point where he's just letting his skills take over, right? Ben Johnson talked about that. Like, once he gets more comfortable, the more reps he gets, then just the physical talent will take over. I don't think he's quite there yet, especially not on every play, and probably unrealistic for an offense like that for him to be there. Now, the good news is as we get closer to week one, and I would imagine starting next week because all the 12 installs are done, training camp's getting to its end, pretty soon they'll start focusing on game prep for Minnesota. Ben Johnson is going to start leaning into what Caleb does well, because this has been the plan. We're going to throw the kitchen sink at him, see what he can handle, see what he can't, and kind of build the 2025 playbook off of what he does well and game plan each week within that playbook based on the opponent. That's a smart approach. And then obviously, ideally, if he's good and it works out and years go by, you continue to add and add and add and expand, and then the playbook gets even larger over time. But, the 2025 Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams, Chicago Bears playbook is unlikely nor should be what the version will be in a year or 2 years or ideally 10 years if this partnership goes really, really well. So I trust Ben to do that. That's been the plan all along. That's what they've communicated. And we'll see what it looks like, obviously. But that's I think Ryan's right with most things in life. Reps helps you speed up on anything. Now, some guys just process better than others. We know that. For certain guys, it never fully clicks. A guy like Justin Fields never fully clicked. So it's certainly not a guarantee that Caleb's going to be a top-end processor. But I don't think you have to be, a Tua, a guy who throws with so much anticipation, because he has the physical skills to overcome some of those areas as long as he's good enough, which is where we're trying to get to. Okay, also on Caleb, just the overall growth that Ryan has seen from him during this training camp. Here's what he had to say on The Score. He said, you can see the progress he's made throughout training camp, and really over the past 2 years, it's night and day in terms of the operation. There's still room to improve, but he's taking ownership of that. He's been open to being coached hard, and he continues to get better. Not only has he been open to being coached hard, he was basically begging for it at the end of last year and throughout last year, which is why obviously they had to make those changes at head coach and OC and all that stuff. And look, I think Caleb has brought in a good attitude. I'm not saying he didn't work hard last year, but I do think there was probably he wasn't going above and beyond a year ago as a rookie. And, I think his rookie year humbled him a bit because he's been such a dominant player his whole life. In college, he probably didn't have to be in the film room 6 hours a day. In the NFL, you got to spend more time. It's a lot more difficult. And I think at least everything we've heard from coaches, fellow teammates, I saw Jonah Jackson said that he reminds him of every other veteran quarterback he's been with. That includes Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford. So, I think he's earned his teammates' respect. Ben Johnson has raved about his work ethic. So I think the work, the attitude, that stuff has all been there. It's about continuing to progress, mastering the offense, or at least, understanding it better as we get closer to week one. That's obviously where the steps got to make it. And obviously just executing the play, throwing the ball on time, accurately, where it needs to go, making good decisions. So, it's all still a work in progress. But I think the attitude, the buy-in, the hard coaching, he's done all of those things and reacted very, very well. Do you believe in Caleb Williams? Type B for believe or D for don't. I do. The talent is still exceptional. It's about meshing it all together in this complicated offense. All right, get yourself a Caleb Williams jersey. If you did type B for believe, get yourself a jersey. It's only $100. Nike Authentic NFL Caleb Williams jersey. Chatsports.com/Caleb jersey. That link is in the comments and description of this video. Click and shop today. Okay, what has surprised Ryan Poles about Ben Johnson? Because obviously you can do all the research in the world. You can talk to him in the interview. You can do all these things. You're not going to be able to know everything, how he's going to do things. Here's what he had to say to that question. He said, I knew the intelligence was very high. I knew from playing him when he was calling plays from a scheme standpoint, he was very good. It gave me vibes of what we had in Kansas City, obviously with Andy Reid. How he was able to get players in positions to be successful, but also to attack the pressure points of the defense. Anytime you hire someone, you wonder how they are in front of the room. How are they in stressful situations? How will they build a staff? He's knocked all of that out of the park. The intensity has been sky high. His passion is off the charts. The guys have responded to that, and they trust him. And we've seen that with these practices. And that's something Ryan Poles said later in the interview as well. He said after that practice last week, which all the reporters were like, I haven't seen a practice like that since Lovie Smith. He said he went to Ben and he was like, this team trusts you because of the way they responded to that practice. A guy like Tyreek Stevenson saying after, I wish we practiced like that every day. Not a lot of teams are practicing like that anymore. This team is bought in to Ben Johnson. They bought in pretty early. I mean, I remember DJ Moore saying at OTAs, like, yeah, it's actually kind of scary the way this staff coaches. Sometimes you should be a little scared in a healthy way. I'm not talking about in some demeaning way, but if you're not doing your job, you should be told that. That's just life. And I think that there's a clear line of communication back and forth between players and coaches of accountability. And that was a major, major issue last year. So the team is bought in. We haven't seen any games yet. They haven't hit any adversity, like losing a couple games in a row. What's going to happen then? But so far, so good. I think, even Ryan probably thought he felt good about the guy Ben Johnson was. He knew the scheme part of it. I think even more so after, 6-8 months on the job, he's like, yeah, this guy can lead the group, and he's done so pretty effortlessly. Okay, number 4. He was asked, is Kyle Monangai your second running back? See the guy behind DeAndre Swift? Here's Poles on Monangai. Quote, when you watch the tape, you really appreciate the vision and feel, and then the contact balance is a strength. At this position, you can over-evaluate the 40 time. Kyle's a guy that will find the right crease and fall forward. His hands are a lot better than I thought they would be. He's a guy that can wear on you throughout the game. With that rotation, him and Swift, we'll see with Roschon and Homer and how that pans out. It should be a pretty cool combination. That line kind of caught my attention when he said with him and Swift, but then more so, we'll see with Roschon and Homer. That felt like kind of a signal to me that Monangai is the second guy right now. He's leapfrogged Roschon and due to play, but also Roschon just missing time. And Travis Homer is Travis Homer. We don't need to over-evaluate that situation. It sounds like it's Monangai's job to lose. If he goes out there, has a couple more good weeks here, puts together a good joint practice against Buffalo and a good preseason game this week and next week, I think he's that second guy. And Ben Johnson has said, I think this is a guy we're going to be able to trust this year. So he's coming along nicely. I totally agree on the vision and feel. We saw a couple of examples of that in the game of, he gets the handoff, and I'm not going to compare him to Le'Veon Bell, but there was one run where he almost just kind of stops, and it's like, oh, here's the pull block, there's the crease, go. Like that's unique ability to let a block develop because, shit, you got 300-pound guys trying to knock your head off. It's kind of tough to sit back there and be that patient, but he's got that feel for the position. I think you could argue he's the best vision back on this team already because that's something they've really emphasized with DeAndre Swift that has to be better this year. And reports have been that has been better, and Swift has had a hell of a camp, and he's clearly RB1. But I think that's an area where Kyle Monangai is actually even better than DeAndre Swift, so that's exciting to think about. And Roschon Johnson, he's MIA. I don't know what's going on. I mean, as of late Thursday, we haven't seen him in over a week. They labeled it a foot injury. Is it more? Is it just a serious injury? Is he just in the building getting training done or rehab done? Who knows? But to me, this is Kyle Monangai's job to lose, and Ryan Poles' comments, I think, kind of confirm that. Okay, and then lastly, we'll just not much time on this too, but fans have wondered, okay, starters are playing this week. Does that mean they're not playing next week with the quicker turnaround, playing Sunday night, turning around, playing Friday night? Ryan Poles didn't rule that out. He said starters could play against the Chiefs as well. I would imagine it's based on a few things. How many snaps do they play this week? How do they play? Is it a clean operation? Are there a lot of mistakes? How physical do they want the practices to be after this game before the next preseason game? So they'll have to weigh the pros and cons. I do think there's a decent chance they'll play next week as well, which obviously would be fun. But I think a lot of that will be dictated on how much they play this week, which at this point in time, we don't have a clear answer to that. Do you guys think the starters should also play in the final preseason game? Type Y for yes, type in for no. I'm open to kind of seeing how this game plays out first. If Caleb and the offense put together a couple of nice drives, if it looks smooth, short turnaround, I'm cool not pushing it next Friday. If it's a little choppy, I'd probably play him next week, even if it's just a drive to get those live game reps. It's a road environment at Arrowhead. It's not going to be crazy rowdy. It's a preseason game, but opportunity on the road where there's going to be some noise, so I certainly would be open to it. But I'm open to kind of having that play it by ear mindset based on what happens in this second game first. All right, guys, there you have it. My reaction to Ryan Poles' interview on 670 The Score. Kudos to those guys for getting that done. We will have more Bears content on a daily basis. Don't forget to join us Sunday night for the watch party against the Bills. We'll see you then. Bear down.